So with our last talk about maybe the first steps or some steps to going off grid, one of those things that we're going to need to purge will be our technology. Things that we plug into outlets. So let's talk about the technology and the myth of time saving. There's another issue at play here, and that is that modernists reject the concept of off-grid, is that they have allowed their minds to be divided and fragmented. In addition to the assumption that all technology must be good or at least morally neutral, we are taught from a very young age that technology saves time and effort and creates wealth and leisure time, which must be a good thing, right? So the natural response by the colonized mind when confronted with agrarianism as a philosophy is to question why anyone wouldn't just as a default accept technology as good, beneficial, and acceptable. The challenging idea that all technology may not be beneficial runs completely counter to the training present in the colonized mind. People will ask, so am I supposed to get rid of my cell phone and my computer? Others will say, God gave us a mind. If we use our minds to create time-saving technologies, aren't we just doing what we're supposed to be doing? The crazy presuppositions are, number one, that agrarians are anti-technology or reject all technology. Number two, if an agrarian uses any technology, then he is a hypocrite. Number three, because technology is automatically good or at least morally neutral, then any use of technology must also be morally neutral. And number four, saving time is automatically good for you, regardless of the results or the reality of whether or not real time was saved or not, or if the time saved is used for eternally good purposes or not. Then number five, if the human mind is capable of devising it and it can be marketed as time-saving, efficient, or necessary, then it should be accepted without question. There is a presumption to these false assumptions. Another problem of modern society, the presumption is this: if the corporate human mind can rationalize something as good, then it is good for all humanity without question. Here are the answers to these presuppositions. Number one, agrarians are not anti-technology, nor do they reject all technology. A frying pan is technology, a plow, a shovel. We all use technology, and agrarians do not at all universally reject technology. What they reject is the assumption that all technology is, or at the very least, morally neutral. Because they reject or are moving away from some technologies as harmful to them, their families, their way of life, and their worldview, does not make them anti-technology. And the answer for number two, the use of technology by an agrarian does not constitute hypocrisy. Number three, technology is not universally or necessarily good, nor is it naturally morally neutral. It cannot be considered outside of its purpose and use, and purpose and use cannot be morally neutral. There is an assumption made by most colonized minds that technology is fundamentally good. Some people believe that in the very worst case, technology is morally neutral. In reality, every technology exists for a purpose or is used towards an end. Every technology must be considered and judged as to whether A, its intended or actual use is morally positive towards our philosophy and worldview, and is conducive to our Christian survival, success, and happiness. B, the reasons and logic used to determine that a thing is good or not is true and biblical. And then C, the results promised are actually the results received. Send the answer to number 4. Saving time is not always good for us. In fact, in very real terms, there is no such thing as saving time. Time may be reallocated, but never saved. Some technologies promise to be time-saving, when in reality, none of us using that technology have any more time available for spiritual pursuits than we had before the use of the technology. In fact, we quite often have less time because we have to work to pay for the support for and support the technology. The concept of time saving assumes that work itself is not spiritual and is a bad use of time. A main agrarian character in War and Peace said, God gave the strength and God gave the day. The strength and the day are sanctified by God, and labor is its own reward. Regardless of our opinion on what might be a better use of time, time passes the same for all of us, whether we use technology or not. So because there is no time bank where saved time is deposited, our time-saving devices usually just reallocate time to some other industrial or unbiblical use. The cult of time-saving has never saved anyone any time. It has instead produced mentally and spiritually crippled people who are unable to do the most basic and necessary tasks. People today are ignorant of the means of basic survival, and unable to hunt, grow, build, fix, or create. The argument for time saving has become an end in itself. No one is willing to ask the scary question, save time for what? Or what is the cost? Are our lives really more spiritually full and complete now that we are surrounded by time-saving devices? At the root of this deception is the question, what are we here for? If God put me here to be perfected as I am digging post holes and planting a garden and building fences and tending to animals, am I really well served to be able to do all of that in a quarter of the time with machines that do the job for me, separating me from the lessons God intends for me to learn, and leaving me to serve the machines and to spend more time on spiritually and mentally debilitating pursuits? What am I really here for? Okay, that's it for now. Thumbs up if you enjoyed this video, and let me know what time-saving devices you will be purging. And remember, a simple life is a beautiful life.